everyone, welcome to episode 172, A Report Card Life.
Meet our mom, Kelly Hutchison. She is a life coach. She is a child counselor. She is a teacher. She's a parent coach. And she's a mom to us. She will teach you to stop yelling at your kids. She will teach you to get your kids to listen. She will teach you how to never sleep with mommy guilt again. She will teach you how to be an imperfect mom, so you can help your kids be imperfect too. And have harmony in the home.
Hey everyone, what's going on? Today we actually have a review to read, which is so exciting, and it comes from Hong Kong. Like what? And if you haven't yet, please leave a review. If you're not sure how to do it, just send me an email. I will give you the instructions based on if you have an Apple or an Android. It's super easy. It would take you about 2 minutes, and it'll be read on the air with your name. How fun would that be? So this one comes from Fanny San. That sounds like a song. Fanny San, Fanny San, Fanny San, San, San. And this listener says, I have been listening to these podcasts for over 2 years, and they often offer great reminders. Today, this is what I had to hear. It was the all or nothing parenting. We don't need to feel defeated when we trip over. Life is messy and it's fine. Parenting is a journey and change is gradual and non-linear. I have been really lucky to come across Kelly's work and coaching. Forever grateful for her heartfelt teaching. Oh, thank you. And you know what? I feel like you knew what today's episode was about because it ties in so well to report card living. And this is a great way to not feel so overwhelmed in your life for Fanny San, and also for all of you for everybody else that's listening, because what I hear the most from people is that they're so overwhelmed with XYZ of their life, trying to get it all done, do it all. Their to-do list is a mile long. And it's very, very, very normal to feel that way. So I don't want to gaslight you and say you shouldn't feel overwhelmed in life. Life is so easy. It actually feels like it gets harder as you get older because you keep leveling up. And so when you think about your life, when I was working in the schools as a counselor, I helped kids a lot with their grades. And now I have 2 kids in school and they all have letter grades coming home and they have 6 to 7 different classes every single day. And so in those 6 to 7 classes, sometimes they're easy A's, sometimes they struggle, sometimes they have to work extra hard compared to their sibling, based on being extra strong in reading or math or science or social studies or Spanish. And so when you think about your life, almost like a report card, and you have these different categories, that's why I love the ULA life so much and the ULA concept, because it breaks your life down. And when you're talking about ULA, it's a book. They talk about faith, family, fitness, friends, finance, fun, and field, which means your job or your occupation. Even if you're a stay-at-home mom, that's still your occupation, so that's your field. And so it talks about breaking your life into those different areas, and there's even a quiz that you can take to see how you feel that you're doing. And it's all made up in our mind how we think that we're doing, and sometimes we're so hard on ourselves that we're not giving ourselves enough credit that we're doing better than we think we are in different areas. And so you can break it down even more and have your own report card, and you could have something like house management, your relationship with your body, how clean is your car? How are you managing your money? What's your relationship with your kids? What's that connection with your spouse or your significant other? And with your family of origin, if they're healthy, then you want them involved in your life. You can give yourselves ratings in all those different areas and then start to think of your life as a report card that you're giving to yourself. And remember, we don't want straight A's. Straight A's is boring. Straight A's is unattainable, and that's where the overwhelm comes from, especially if you were expected to have straight A's as a kid, either put upon yourself or put upon by someone else, whether it was your teacher or your coaches or your parents or your greedy grandpappies. When that pressure was put on yourself when you were younger, then you might be doing that when you're older, because that little girl, that little boy is saying, I need to get straight A's, I need to get straight A's, I need to get straight A's, I need to have everything perfect. If it's not perfect, then it goes back to all or nothing. And this is kind of what we were talking about a couple weeks ago about the maintenance phase. When you can get into your life and realize that it's always an ongoing journey and there's no destination, you might have midterms, report cards, the final grade at the end of the year, But there's no time where you actually graduate from doing this life thing, which is the purpose of this life, to have a purpose-driven life where we feel like we don't have to get straight A's. When you break your life down into different areas, what happens is the area that you're struggling in the most, this is very normal, I want to normalize this for you, you're going to look outside of you to see how others are doing in that area. You perceive that they're doing better. So then it makes you feel worse about your situation because it's almost like you're in the math class and you're having such a hard time and you feel like you have an F in the class, and then you look at they posted the grades and everyone has all A's, which makes you feel even worse about your F. What I want to help you do is to think about your life and realize that there's going to be certain areas that you have to work harder in than others, and that's okay. Because that same person you're comparing yourself against or with, they have different areas that are harder for them. So I might have students in my class who were really strong in reading like Harry Potter in first grade, but doing math was really hard for them. Conversely, I've had kids in my class super strong in math, off the charts, and then their reading comprehension was so difficult for them. There's no child, there's no human, there's no adult that goes through life and everything's a breeze. They don't have challenges, they don't have struggles, and all of their classes are easy. And the report card is just straight A's because it comes with no effort. It is, and within the effort is how you learn to do the thing better. But just because you have to spend a little extra time in a certain area doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. It just means that that's the journey and that's the gift that you're given. And then when you look and compare, just know that everybody else is having their same 50-50 also. You're not going to ever see it on social media because that's not what social media is meant for. Social media is meant to show all their highlight reel, their strengths, the beauty of life. I do it, you do it, we all do it. And sometimes we can look at social media and see everybody else doing it better in the area that we're struggling in, and then we actually feel worse and we start to resent that person because they're doing well in XYZ area. So when that happens, which it will, just remind yourself, it might be like the student in my classroom who is really strong in math but struggled in reading. And then the other student who is really strong in reading but struggled in math. Not that you want other people to struggle and you're wishing bad things for other people. It just helps to normalize that we all have our strengths, we all have our weaknesses. We all have classes that are harder for us, and then we have classes that are easy A's. An easy A for one student isn't an easy A for all the students. So when you remember that and you start to compare, you start to look at your life in categories and sections instead of looking at it all at once, because that's where the overwhelm comes from. Thinking we need to do all at once, all the things, get straight A's, but more think about your life in compartments, in different categories, in different departments. Because when you think of it that way, you can go back to when you were in school. Even if you're homeschooled, when you're doing math, you're not thinking about English. When you're at PE, you're not thinking about the science. So when you can categorize that in your brain, then you can have different sections of your day dedicated to the different areas of your report card. And then there are going to be different areas that are going to require more work for you. Some people love to work out, but they don't like to manage their money. Conversely, some people like to manage their money, but don't like to work out. So the person who doesn't like to manage their money, they're going to have to put a little more effort in. The person who doesn't like to work out is going to have to do it anyway. Because a lot of times we expect it to be easy, and when it's hard, then we think, oh, that must mean we're doing it wrong. There's something wrong with me. There's something inherently wrong. Like on the DNA level, I was cut from the wrong cloth. I was given the wrong parents. I'm flawed. I'm broken. And when we come from that area, we don't come from a place of like, I'm going to figure this out no matter what. So when you're thinking about your classwork and your homework in the different areas, someone might finish their Spanish homework in 10 minutes while another student finishes their Spanish homework in 45 minutes. Doesn't mean one is better than the other. Those same two students can go do their science homework, and the one it took them 10 minutes for might take them 45 minutes. The person who took them 45 minutes to do the Spanish, it might take them 10 minutes to do their science. So when we stay in our own lane and we look at our life in different categories and different sections and compartmentalize, so then we're able to be present in the area. When we're cleaning our house, we're not thinking about budgeting our finances. So that allows you to be fully present in whatever you are doing, because what multitasking is a myth. We try to do so much at once, and that's where we get overwhelmed and we get our brain starts to freeze and spaz out, and then we actually do nothing. That's why we don't take action, because we're so overwhelmed, so we do nothing. We're not breaking it down in different chunks. It's like when my closet is so disorganized and a total train wreck, I'm like, I don't even know where to start, so I don't do anything. And then it just builds and builds and builds, and becomes this huge snowball, and then the brain's really getting overwhelmed and just shuts down altogether. This happens when people gain weight, when they go into debt, when they're arguing with their spouse, when they feel 150 miles away from their kids, even though they're in the next room, or even sitting on the couch next to them. Because instead of it being messy stuff in the closet, it might be a lot of resentment, a lot of guilt, a lot of shame, and a lot of not feeling good enough. And then slowly but surely, it just drifts like two ships. And then it becomes two ships passing in the night versus connection, which gives us energy that rolls over into the different areas, and it creates that momentum in your life. So the area that's causing you the biggest CDF feeling, that you feel like you're struggling in the most, spend the most effort in that one. Get your easy A's in the areas that are easy for you. Celebrate those easy A's. And then the section that's hardest for you, know that that's your journey, that's your gift. You don't have to get straight A's. And the more effort and time and attention and consciousness you put in that area, it'll become easier over time to get that B or C. I always tell the story about when I came home from school and I was bawling my eyes out because I think I got a C or a D on my report card for chemistry. It was so hard with Mr. Strout. I'm bawling my eyes out. And Mom's like, why are you so upset? I'm like, I can't. Just blubbering mess. And she's like, did you try your best? And I'm like, yeah, that was literally the best I could do. She's like, well, then Dad and I don't care. I'm like, wait, what? You don't care? Like, no, we care about the effort, not the grade. Who cares about the grade? If you're getting that in PE and you're an athlete and you're just sitting on your duff, not dressing out, not participating, giving the attitude of the coach, getting a C or D in that, then we have to talk. Then we have to have a little chit chat. But chemistry is hard for your brain. It's supposed to be hard for some brains. It's really easy for others. So when we see that in different subject areas with our students, with our kids, if we recall back to when we were in school, then we can apply that into our life and create our own report card, our own rubric, and give ourselves our own grades. And guess what? It's all made up. It's all in our imagination. It's all in our thinking. The areas that you struggle in the most, put the most effort in there first, and you won't believe the ripple effect it will have. Because you're not going to be playing from overwhelm. You're not going to be playing from confusion. You're not going to be playing from inaction. You're going to be playing from effort, consciousness, and pride. And when you feel proud about yourself, then it rolls over into the other areas, which ripples into your kids and whoever else is living in your four walls to have more harmony in the home. I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye. Hey, mamas, thanks for listening. If you had any ahas, clicks, or those lightning bolt moments while listening, you have to check out my free parenting bootcamp, where we take all of this to the next level and we try to create even more awakenings for ourselves so that we can connect more with our kids and never yell at them again. You can sign up at www.coachingkelly.com. And if you really want to fill up my love cup, send me an email of what your aha was, what your click was. What was that lightning bolt moment while you were listening? I want nothing more in life than for you to have harmony in your home and to learn how to be an imperfect mom like me, which allows your kids to be imperfect too, each and every day. Thanks for listening.